I'm Sean Canan. I hope you tune in to Tuesday Cafe this week because I have a special show that combines news and music and events in our community. I speak with John Lennon's lost weekend girlfriend, May Pang, about an exhibition of her photos of John coming up in Ybor City. And I talk with leaders of Sarasota's Selby Gardens about their exhibits focusing on George Harrison and on Patti Smith. That's all coming up at 10 Tuesday morning on 88.5 FM and WMNF.org.
Your news, your views, your values. This is WMNF Tampa 88.5 FM.
The opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only.
Good morning to you. Yes, you, my dear friend, whom I only see in my dreams, but I know I will find in my heart every Monday because we share the same wavelength. WMNF Tampa, the only station that they stream in Yamatsu, Hirosaka, and you can stream us as well at WMNF.org. Well, spank my butt and call me Sally. Today is Ask Me Anything Monday. I always feel like we're spelunking in a gold mine on AMA Monday. The questions that your listeners ask are always a fist-sized nugget that make the Healthy Steps radio show sparkle. Okay, my companions, if you have any questions or any related health concerns, give us a call at 813-239-9663. Irena's sitting in the control room awaiting your call with bated breath. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. You can also send an email to dj@wmnf.org or text us at 813-433-0885. Good morning to you, Dr. Harvey. Ask Me Anything Monday always seems to have legs of its own, so let me get out of the way and watch where this show goes. It's all yours, Dr. Fred. Take it away.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Sally. What a wonderful Monday. Happy Monday to all you healthy steppers out there. Glad to be back for another show. Boy, this is a cold one. And looking forward to that chill. I like to put a couple extra layers on, but you know what? There's something that happens in this cold weather, and it's just a real issue. Flu gets transmitted much better in cold weather, and we are seeing it. Flu is at very high levels in many states across the nation, mostly in the South, high levels in all the rest of the South up through the Northeast. There's some places up in the mid-north central area that are really minimal, maybe because they really don't have huge populations. But we are seeing flu everywhere. And you can recognize the flu because flu has a little different onset than the common cold, of which COVID is one of the iterations of common cold virus, because beta coronavirus is a really common cold virus. But COVID is unique in that it causes this autoimmune event. And so the COVID comes on stronger, but the cold and the COVID come on slowly, whereas flu hits you fast. So if you've got sudden onset of body aches, fever, cough, and fatigue, it's likely to be the flu. There's going to be probably some sore throat, maybe some abdominal distress. Kids tend to have more vomiting and nausea and diarrhea with influenza, but adults can get it too. So it is a real slow onset for the cold. You do get the same kind of things, but that, the little scratchy throat, the funny feeling behind your nose, it's a couple days onset before you get the rest of the symptoms. And so the flu, it's hitting. So, there is a medication for the flu. And like with any medication, there are potential adverse consequences, but the risk is very low. Many people with underlying medical problems have severe problems with the flu. 36,000 people die in America from flu-related complications. because their immune systems can't handle it, their hearts can't handle it, their lungs can't handle it. And so it's really good idea to actually prepare yourself. If you're in a risk group, I have recommended that people in risk groups get vaccinations in the past because there is really strong evidence that people in risk groups can benefit greatly from it. Some other things to think about: Tamiflu, and there are other related influenza medications that if you take them within the first 48 hours, you can actually derail the infectious process and basically heal faster. So if you feel like you have this sudden onset problem, call your doctor, go to an urgent center. Actually, it's better to call your doctor and see if they'll call it in for you. But really, if you're that sick, you probably need to be evaluated anyway. I like to evaluate the patient. But if you're going to go to an urgent care center or to a doctor, put a mask on. Please don't spread the virus at the places you go. If you have symptoms, wear a mask. Be courteous to others. Reduce transmission of this very nasty virus. And then do your usual supports, lots of fluids, rest, stay at home. There's no reason to go out with the flu. Acetaminophen or ibuprofen can be helpful. Avoid aspirin in children because it causes a deadly illness called Reye's syndrome. And so all the other things that I've mentioned for viral supports in the past with zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D and quercetin, these things are all very helpful. And so you should probably consider having some of them on hand. And so, yes, flu is on the agenda. It is spreading rapidly and we need to pay attention, take care of ourselves. And, you know, this is going to go on for the next couple of months. In Florida, the weather's going to get warmer, so we'll see less of it probably by March, but this could go through May. There are people that get summer flu. So this is an ongoing problem that we can protect ourselves from. And remember, get enough sleep, get enough water, and do some exercise because it does help to move the toxins out of your body so you don't get quite as sick. So this is WMNF Tampa, the Healthy Steps radio show. This is Dr. Fred Harvey, and we do have an interactive show. The number to call us is 813-239-9663. If you want to email, it's dj@wmnf.org. And if you want to text, it's 813-433-0885. And I do believe that somebody's all ready to talk. Do we have some callers today?
Yeah, we have Nancy on the line one here from St. Pete.
Yes.
Hello, Nancy.
Good morning. Good morning, Doc. Good morning. I'm so happy to talk with you because I've listened to you and I'm just thrilled that I actually got on. So about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with vestibular neuritis. I've had ear problems starting out as a very young child. I had earaches all the time. I've had 2 surgeries. One was when I was in my 20s for severe infection in the, whatever that thing's called, the bone. And then the last one was because of infection that basically dismantled my entire inner ear. So it took the guy 3 hours to rebuild everything. With all that said, so now what I'm experiencing is a proprioception issue. It's not vertigo, but it is sometimes dizziness. But I woke up one morning and I could not stand. I had to crawl to the bathroom. Okay? I was that whacked out. So now I've learned how to walk, and everybody, when they first see me, they go, "Are you okay?" Because I'm basically having to concentrate on, putting my feet down and righting myself every time I'm out and about. The next thing is now I've developed neuropathy in my hands and my feet. That's a fairly new thing, which probably maybe a year ago, and it's not painful, thank God, but it's the itchy, scratchy kind. And it's also okay. So then one more thing is that I have a slime in my throat all the time. It's like a slime. And sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better, but I'm always like, the slimy stuff is coming up. So, and at one time it was on my private parts, but that seems to have dissipated since the doctor gave me a we did an anti, what's the thing you get in your stomach that's not good? He did that program with me.
Helicobacter pylori?
Not pylori. It's a very common thing that people get in the stomach. That's
okay. So you seem to have a lot of problems related to inflammation, and it's showing up in your nervous system. It sounds like you have toxins and possibly infection contributing to this. And so the ongoing inflammation that's coming from that is causing continued deterioration in your body, and that needs to be evaluated.
Okay, so I know you suggest different tests because I've been to my primary, and he does tests, and they always show up perfectly normal. Blood count normal. I'm not allergic to anything. Blah, no food sensitivities. Otherwise, I'm healthy. So he said. Yes. So where would you find the infection?
So the problem is primary care doctors use a very limited amount of tests, and functional medicine doctors use a much broader variety of tests. And so also we use a different way of thinking about the human that's in front of us. And so rather than thinking about diagnosing an illness and giving it a label and then finding a medication to match the label to hopefully do something about the problem, we actually look at the human and find out where the dysfunction is in the human and then help to fix the dysfunction so that the symptoms go away rather than just trying to cover up the symptoms. This may take a little bit of evaluation for you to look for some petrochemical or metal toxins in you, to look for some inflammatory markers that could help guide us or guide you out of this mess. But so I think inflammation is a big issue, and we're finding that there are some really good tools available for inflammation. Doctors are using the GLP-1 inhibitors like Ozempic and Wegovy for other problems. We're finding that Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease can be treated with these. We're finding that sleep apnea can be treated with these things because these are all inflammatory conditions. Your nervous degeneration is an inflammatory condition. So I would recommend that you see a doctor who thinks out of the box, a doctor who will use other tools or other methods for diagnosis. So the Institute for Functional Medicine is available. They have a physician search finder. ifm.org can help you find a local doctor. You can go to Functional Medicine Florida, my website, and get more information about that and the things that functional medicine doctors do to help people get beyond these syndromes.
Okay, so Institute for, what did you say? Institute for
Functional Medicine, ifm.org.
And then Functional Medicine in Florida, too. I can look it up that way. Okay, one of the issues I have with that is I'm 69 years old and I'm on Social Security and I make a small income. In addition to that is that it's very, very expensive, unfortunately, because I started doing that. He charges me like $125 every time I go. And he wanted to start me with 7 things, and the testing, they don't use insurance. So they make it almost impossible for people, elderly people, to avail themselves of them.
Well, one of the best tests that is available out there is from Genova Diagnostics. It is called the NutrEval, N-U-T-R-E-V-A-L, and it looks at your metabolome. It looks at the inflammatory markers, the toxic markers, your nervous system markers to see where we can intervene. Medicare covers this test.
Okay, so it's say it again, Genova
Diagnostics, NutrEval.
Okay, let me get this. Genova Diagnostics NutrEval.
Yeah. And that's available for anybody who's on Medicare. Unfortunately, private insurance doesn't pay for it.
Okay, I'm on Medicare. Genova Diagnostics. How do you spell NutrEval?
N-U-T-R-E-V-A-L.
Okay, got it. So the NutrEval is actually the test that they run. I did have high levels of arsenic for a while, but those have seemed that we tested again and it was gone. So
that's probably because you probably ate rice the day or two before you had your first arsenic test.
Yes, I absolutely did. I was a big rice eater. So we did.
Yeah. So if you eat rice, here's something to help with your neuropathy, because arsenic causes neuropathy. The fact that it wasn't there the second time.
No, I stopped. I don't eat it. I don't eat a lot of rice. I eat very little
Good.
rice.
Perfect. All right. So good luck with your search. I have another caller.
Okay. Thank you so much, doctor.
You're very welcome. Take care.
All right, we got Barney from Hillsborough County.
Hello, Barney.
Hello, Fred.
How are you, Barney?
Peachy, sort of. Here's a question.
What's that?
Halitosis. Could it be linked to pinworms and nematodes from walking barefoot out here in Hillsborough County for about 20 years of my life?
Highly unlikely.
Okay, to treat halitosis, is the fenbendazole family still available?
It is, but why would you use that for halitosis?
I saw PubMed
Okay.
documentation on it. But
So
other than that,
my approach to PubMed is start with the teeth and work the whole way down. Do you have good teeth? Do you have good dental hygiene? Are you eating foods that would upset your stomach? Do you have something going on in your stomach? Do you have something going on in your small intestine? Do you have something going on in your large intestine?
yeah, so if it's worms or parasites, what's a holistic approach?
I have never heard of anybody getting halitosis from worms. It may be, and you may have found something on PubMed, but it's not one of the things that rises to the top of my list. Dysbiosis comes up first, and parasites aren't my biggest complaint or concern with dysbiosis. I'm thinking about the wrong bacteria, which would be induced from eating things that produce the wrong bacteria in your gut.
Okay, sounds good. I'll keep playing with the chemistry, working with the mercury.
Yeah, I think looking at possibly probiotic use, extra fiber use, eliminating foods that may cause problems. So people have digestive problems, may not digest meat well. If meat sits around in your belly, it ferments, and then it makes putrid chemicals like putrescine and cadaverine, and they smell. So there's all kinds of reasons for it. I think it's worth it to actually let a good functional medicine doctor listen to the symptoms that you describe other than halitosis and see if they can figure out with you what's going on.
Okay, sounds good.
Good luck with that, Barney.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, let's move to Susan from Sarasota.
Hello, Susan.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, I love your show. I always can't wait till I get down to Florida so I can hear you. I have a few, and I'll go as quickly as I can. I'm with a boyfriend who has AFib, irregular heartbeat. He's on Eliquis, diltiazem, flecainoid, and azithromycin or something. We're going to see a cardiologist for both of us tomorrow, and I take hawthorn and taurine and D-ribose. They thought I had dysbiosis, and I'm wondering what supplements might be good to run by the cardiologist, because anything I give him, most of them interact with his meds. He can't take very many things. You know, for his mucus, I tried to put him on NAC, he got heartburn. But are there any supplements that I should bring up to the doctor tomorrow, do you think?
Maybe magnesium and fish oil. They would probably have the biggest impact for somebody with atrial fibrillation. But the question is, really with atrial fibrillation, has the sleep apnea or the alcohol been treated?
Yeah, he doesn't drink, and he does do he has sleep apnea. And the fish oil, isn't that a debate if he's on Eliquis? His triglycerides were 175, and his...
So he needs to stop eating so much sugar.
Stop eating so much sugar.
Yeah, that's why his triglycerides are up there. And taking fish oil with Eliquis isn't controversial. If you get a little bit more bruising, you back off on it. So fish oil is actually very helpful. I'd rather see him eat more anchovies, sardines, and mackerel and herring than take the fish oil, but
yeah.
Both.
Well, he'll do salmon and tuna, and I know tuna has, he likes tuna.
Yes. So if you're going to use tuna, use the small chunk light, tongal, skipjack, no albacore, because albacore is the mercury fish.
Skipjack, not albacore. Yeah,
right.
That's what I thought. But you'd rather see that than take the fish oil. Okay.
I think eating food is really makes sense.
Go ahead.
I think eating food really makes sense, yes.
Should I forget mentioning hawthorn and taurine and all that?
Yeah, those things are fine, but they're not going to really much alter his AFib.
Okay. I fell because I didn't shorten my pants once, and I got patellofemoral syndrome. I am bow-legged. I have lymphedema in my left leg, and I have very severe arthritis. I have what's known as end-stage arthritis. I'm not going to be able to go, and nor would I want to go for a knee replacement or shots, and I'm going to one by one do any supplements that might help. I'm doing MSM and something called Inflacera with a lot of good things, but I'm going to try a vegetarian glucosamine sulfate. Are there any supplements that you found very helpful with very bad arthritis?
Yeah, there's some really good data on the use of some specific collagen and hyaluronic acid extracts. Zymogen company makes one called Synovix DJD, Synovx DJD, and Synovix Recovery. Those are two that really help with the arthritis. And then there's Synovix tendon ligament, which has been shown to help reorganize tendon problems. So if you have a patellar femoral syndrome, that ligament tendon anatomy needs to be supported.
You do like collagen. I was taking a fish collagen, vital protein, and some actress on the television said that the plastic was breaking down into it, so I gave it up. But you think collagen is definitely worth trying?
Collagen's a very good protein source, and collagen from fish protein is fine because no matter where you go, there's plastic. And if they have purified the collagen from the fish, you've got collagen, not fish. And so there's likely to be no plastic in it at that point. So, you know, we're not going to be able to avoid every bit of pollution we put on this planet. And the amount of plastic that's in fish flesh is less than you breathe.
Well, no, he said the
atmosphere.
Container was breaking down. The container got into it. But it sounds like you think I should pursue looking for a good fish collagen.
Yeah, I'm not sure how a container will be breaking down into the fish, but that's okay. I would say just stick with a good quality collagen, and you won't be having that kind of breakdown.
Okay, and what was the other one you said? Zymogen what?
Synovix DJD, recovery, and tendon ligament.
I hate to ask you to spell. I know how to spell recovery and All right, will you spell this for me?
I did. But I'll do it again. Synovx.
Synovx. Okay.
Yes. So good luck with that. I hope you feel better.
Real quick, did you have a good dentist in Sarasota?
There are lots of good dentists in Sarasota, but I'm not making referrals today.
Thank you. I think you're a very brilliant young man.
Thank you, my dear. Have a great day and a great year.
All right, let's go to Katie from Gulfport.
I am suffering from long-term COVID, and
yes.
I go to a DO, and she has said that there's not one thing that can fix it, but I have a medication for every symptom. And it's just, you know, and I had a flu shot, I had all the COVID shots. So I've been
Did you have more COVID shots while you have long COVID?
No, excuse me. I had all the COVID shots before this time, and I still
gotcha. And that supposedly reduces your risk of getting long COVID, but I'm not certain about that. So what are you looking to do? Get off of some of these other treatments?
Well, I was doing some research. A friend gave me some websites, and what keeps coming up is ivermectin. And I go to a DO, and they're closed today, but I was going to call and see if she would consider giving me that medication. And also what comes up is nattokinase.
Yes.
And could you tell me a little bit about either of them?
So my experience with long COVID is that there is no single remedy. Unfortunately, Western medicine has this fixation on finding a magic bullet. They didn't read, I guess, the Greek mythology on Pandora's box, because there's no such thing as a panacea, and we're never going to find it for every illness. But there are things that we know about the way these illnesses work. And so long COVID, along with long Lyme and long flu and chronic mold and many other chronic inflammatory response syndromes, are ongoing autoimmune-like syndromes where your body is just beating itself up. I have yet to find one person in chronic long COVID to respond to ivermectin. I have seen people respond to many other things, including prednisone and all kinds of other interventions. I had one very severe case that we actually used an HIV medication called Maraviroc because it's actually shown to reduce the amount of activity in a certain specific cell that actually stimulates more of the spike protein production. So there's some really interesting work being done on this, and there's a research being done with University of Minnesota and the Institute for Functional Medicine, where they are looking at a whole set of herbal interventions that seem to be actually improving people. There is no one way out of this situation, and I think it really would be helpful for you to consult with somebody who actually has really spent some time treating people with chronic inflammatory response syndrome.
Okay. There is a wellness institute in Clearwater that I found, and I was going to call them to see if they took my insurance. But do you think is that my next step?
It's not likely you will find anybody who does this that's going to take your insurance. You might, but then they're going to be doing insurance-based visits, usually shorter times, and not actually doing the deep dive that we need to do to find out some of the stuff in this. You probably would benefit from doing the Radiance Laboratories long COVID panel to see if you actually have that or another cytokine storm that's going on. Treating the symptoms with all the medications is not going to get rid of it.
Yeah, it just makes it feel better in the meantime,
Right. So ifm.org, they are actually doing a natural substance research study, and the FLCCC online has a whole protocol for dealing with it that might guide the doctor you're with now.
Okay, FLCC, okay, great. That was one of the ones. All right, well, thank you so much for this information. You almost confirmed what I already knew, but I just had to ask.
Yes, ma'am. Glad to help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. We got another caller, Doug from Tampa.
Great. Hello, Doug.
Hello, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. I called you several months ago and was suffering from really bad neuropathy, and the gout system was no longer working. And you gave me probably the best advice I could ever have in my life. I'm a 67-year-old male that's in pretty damn good shape, and you told me to take cayenne pepper and turmeric, and I forget the other pill. I don't have it off the top of my mind, but my pain level went from a 10 to a 2. So anybody out there that's doubting this man's capability, listen to what he's got to say. My personal testimony is you stopped my pain tremendously. That's all I want to say, and thank you. You keep doing a great job that you're doing.
Thank you, my friend. You have a wonderful year. I'm so glad you had such good results.
Great. Going another caller, John from St. Pete.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Doctor. First off, I think a couple of weeks ago you talked about a water filtration system that you use.
Yes.
Can you give me that name?
ATLA.
ATLA. Did you in the past also recommend ODAC?
Yes, actually, that's another company that I have used. I actually have one of their units at my office.
And there's a difference between these?
Yes, the ODAC is not quite as good a filtration unit, but it was very good for what it is. And for freestanding in the corner of my office waiting room, it was excellent. However, the under sink Atla with 3 stages of filtering is really like the highest end you can get before you go to reverse osmosis.
because I'm using ODAC now.
Yeah, good filter. I like it.
I'm not crazy about the taste of
Yes,
water.
I think that the Atla tastes better. The Atla gets even more of the stuff out. Gets a lot of the biologics out.
All right. Secondly, I had a Cologuard positive result, and my GI has told me that they are somewhat unreliable. So I'm looking at a colonoscopy in about a week.
Well, actually, the thought there, John, the real thing there is you had a positive Cologuard. So the way I use Cologuard rationally is if you have negatives, it's about 95% sensitive. You can't get any better than that with a colonoscopy. Colonoscopists don't like it because they want to be involved. And so the evidence is that these tests are actually very accurate and very sensitive. So if you get a positive one, you really need to get a colonoscopy because it's much, much more likely that you have something going on in your colon you don't want to have going on there.
Well, I am scheduled for the colonoscopy.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And you might want to consider, if you do have positive colon genetics here, and that's what they are, you really want to consider getting rid of alcohol, adding some curcumin, some green tea, some resveratrol, and lots of fiber to your diet, no matter what the diagnosis is.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's all my questions. Thank you.
Great, John. Good luck with that. I hope it's all negative.
Yes, sir. Me too. Take care. Bye.
You too. Well, folks, I just want to remind everybody this is a call-in show. You've been really interactive today. I'm loving it. Just to remind you, the number is 813-239-9663. I have a bunch of emails I can get to shortly if we don't have callers, but the DJ at WMNF.org is our email. Joe, do we have anybody on the line?
No one else at the moment.
Very good.
Good.
All right. I got a text message here, and let's see what we've got. I've had a hernia repair and have active hernias currently that have not changed. My uncle has had an aortic aneurysm. I do heavy lifting. I asked my PCP to get scanned for aortic aneurysm. He says it's not indicated, even with family history and indirect risk factors. I want an affordable way to get screened with either cash or my PCP. Well, you know, most radiology centers, most ultrasound people who own an ultrasound will be glad to have you pay cash for a study. Most hospitals don't set that up because they're really locked into the insurance system. Some of the bigger medical groups will not take cash, but most will. So you could look for that, or you could actually look for a screening test. Often you'll see screenings advertised in health magazines, in the newspaper, in the flyers that come in your mailbox. And even at your church. I know that these people used to show up at churches because they'd have a big group of people they could test, and they're really inexpensive, $100 or something for a bunch of vascular testing. So if your PCP won't order it because he doesn't want to, then do it on your own. You can do it, and it's not that terribly expensive. Be nice to have the insurance cover it, but if you don't have actually a illness reason, then the insurance isn't on the hook for that either, because insurance covers loss due to illness. So preventive and screening tests are not part of what these companies are actually contracted by you to pay for. So let's see. Nick writes to us. What a great introduction. Thank you as always for your very important show. I wanted to ask you if there's any specific nutrition formulas that have been proven to reverse aging. I watched the documentary showing how eating a plant-based diet reversed biologic age measurable at the DNA level. The experiment seemed to have a very small sample size, but I've heard a lot about this. A follow-up question to that would be, have you seen any specific treatments for issues such as macular degeneration, arthritis, etc., involving dietary changes and nutrition? Well, I'll answer the last one first. Yes, functional medicine actually deals with degenerative chronic illnesses and uses dietary changes, nutritional supplementation, medication where indicated, lifestyle changes, and many other things to help a body actually transcend the dysfunction that results in disease. And so, have there any are there any specific nutritional formulas that have proven to reverse aging? Well, in actuality, there's really a lot of data on this. But I guess the question is, how much are you looking for? Because when you add up all the stuff that these longevity people are doing, I think there's a guy named Johnson right now spending millions on longevity. The likelihood is that he's going to add maybe 6 months or a year at the end of his life. That's wonderful. I really don't care about adding 6 months or a year of longevity to my life. What I do care about is reducing the disability gap, the disability zone, the 12 and a half years that Americans on average spend in a warehouse for old people because they can't get off the chair and wipe their own butt. This is a problem. This is a disability zone that doesn't occur in the rest of the world. The rest of the world experiences a disability zone about 3 weeks. You get sick, you die. In America, you get sick, you get infirm, and then we put you in a warehouse, and then we neglect you. Hate to say it that way, but that's what I see. and so I don't know that seeking longevity for longevity's sake is anything of value. I would rather seek a health span, and the way to do that is functional medicine. And it's not like one specific thing. Plant-based diets are good. I'm on a plant-based diet, 80% plant, 20% animal. And so that's the Mediterranean diet. That's the one that's associated with the most longevity. The blue zones are Mediterranean diet eating zones with many other rules. Look up blue zones. It's very interesting information, and it's where people live to 100 well. They don't have a disability zone of more than 3 weeks. They live, die. And that's the way it should be. I'm not looking to live in a warehouse at the end. I'm looking to be healthy and live the length of life that I need to get the job done that I'm here for. Here's another email. Please discuss functional neurologic disorders. Well, I have been in a sense. The nervous system dysfunctions when we do wrong things to it. Really interesting, just came up this past week. The FDA decided to ban red number 3. Red number 3 is a dye that is toxic, as are many other dyes. And so for some reason, in the 60s, I guess it was the pressure of job creators, some nice corporate lobbying, got the FDA to approve yellow 5, red 3, red 2, red 40, yellow 6, blue, all these other different things. It turns out that many of these petrochemical dyes, aniline dyes, are bad for you. Who would have thought that drinking petrol is bad for you? So they banned 3. They banned 2 years ago because it was proven for human cancer. The 3 is proven for rat cancer, but not for humans, so they didn't want to let it go because somebody thinks that they need to make some money off of us putting this poison in our food. But there's another dye called tartrazine, yellow 5. And yellow 5 has been associated with allergy, hyperactivity, cancer, genotoxicity, and gastrointestinal irritation. Yellow 6, another synthetic food dye. It causes allergy, cancer, neurobehavioral issues like ADD, and possibly testicular cancer. And it's contaminated with things like benzidine and 4-aminobiphenyl. These are horrible toxins, yet they're allowed to be in our food because it's generally considered safe. Well, I don't know which general considered it safe, but he should be demoted. And red 40 can damage DNA in vitro, in vivo. That means in the laboratory and in the body. It causes neurobehavioral things. Again, ADD. Why are we allowing this? It causes cancer of the colon. What is the problem with our FDA that it allows this stuff on the market? The European FDA does not. They've banned these things. So has Australia and New Zealand. They've got a brain. Then we have this other stuff, titanium oxide. It's showing up in food. It shows up in toothpaste, but it causes DNA damage. It may be okay on the skin. It's probably better than those petrochemical 50 sunblocks, but it's still a question. And potassium bromate shows up in depleted bread products. Potassium bromate's a horrible thing. It's bromine. We don't need to be ingesting things like that cause damage. So, yes, just to remind you, this is the Healthy Step Show, and the number is 813-239-9663. And I do believe that we have a caller.
Yeah, we got George from St. Pete.
Hello.
Hey, George.
Hello, good morning.
What do you have for us today?
I was wondering if I would get sicker from the flu from my buddy if he did not have a flu shot or if he had a flu shot. So if he had a flu shot, would I get less sick or more sick? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, actually, that's really an insightful question, George. So the evidence appears to be that if someone has had an immunization for influenza or for COVID-19, the body produces antibodies and neutralizes the virus earlier. And so you have less production of infectious viral particles coming out in your respirations. So if your friend had a flu shot, it's likely that you would be exposed to less virus and thus a less intense infection overall.
Well, that's a good reason for people to get a shot so to not get their friends really sick. Right. Okay. That's what I thought.
So get a shot so you don't get your friends really sick. Right.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, that's why the CDC recommends that everybody get a shot so that you can reduce population illness so that older people and sicker people don't die from the flu. It's a kind of courtesy thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. I wonder how many people at the inauguration are vaccinated today. Ha ha.
That's an interesting thought, too. I bet more than you suspect.
Good. But they're not going to tell anybody because they're going to be shamed by their buddies if they get a shot.
That could be an issue. So, yes, I wish everybody well that's at the inauguration today. I hope they all avoid getting the flu, but it's going to be indoors. So they're going to be trapped in a situation where the viral particles are spread more easily because the outdoor setting was less infectious.
And I'll bet you anything, we're not going to see one mask in there. Huh.
I'm not going to lay any money on that one. So, hey, George, have a wonderful year, and thanks for the call.
Thanks, Doc.
I don't think we have anybody on the line, so here's an email. Joy asks, could I repeat with the supplements I suggested for neuropathy? Well, for neuropathy, I don't know that I actually mentioned anything today, but alpha-lipoic acid is a wonderful supplement for neuropathy, as is methylcobalamin or methyl B12. Methylfolate is another one, and benfotiamine, activated thiamine, as well as small doses of pyridoxine or B6. These are all very good things to help with the nervous system. Fish oil in high doses and phosphatidylcholine or sunflower lecithin, organic sunflower lecithin. These are things that will help to re-insulate the damaged nerve sheaths. And so you can get a little ahead of the game with those supplements. Lee writes, I hope you'll read my email. My wife recently started experiencing soreness in her hands, slightly swollen knuckles, and a weaker ability to grip. We have been in storm recovery and doing a lot of manual labor. They're in their mid-60s. Could I recommend some natural remedies or supplements that might help with soreness and swelling? Oh, Lord, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I'm over 60, and I did a house move and an office move in December and early January, and indeed, my hands were feeling it. And so I like to use some oral anti-inflammatories like curcumin and boswellia or frankincense. I use a combination called Curaphen quite often. It's very nice. You can get it over the counter, Curaphen. And the using oil, like some sort of CBD salve on your hands and rubbing that in is a really good way to help with some of that pain I found. And keeping the hands warmer, too, because in this cold weather, they do ache a bit more. I've got a caller.
Yeah, we got Mary from Indian Rocks Beach.
Hello, Mary.
Hi. Yes, this is Mary. I think my husband just called on my behalf because I was doing something else and he texted me. And it was about my hands after the hurricane. I don't know if they, and I'm 65, but I don't know if they were overused. But all of a sudden, when I'm bending my thumb, it kind of pops like it's popping out of joints. And it only feels good if it's straight.
So you have a trigger thumb, and that's a tendonitis, and you could probably benefit from using some hyaluronic acid combination. I use one called synovic tendon ligament. It feels really good, and I think you probably had your radio down when I was actually reading your husband's email.
I did, because I was in fear that, I'd be that person that you could hear back and forth. So I didn't want to do that.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so there's an answer for your husband's email online. You can listen to it again, but basically rub your hands with CBD cream, take some Curafen, which is a combination of curcumin and boswellia and some other things that help. And I think that would be useful.
Okay, that's great. And for the other fingers too, like if they do that popping thing, that's and you know what I mean by popping, like it feels well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that synovic tendon ligament really helps tendons and ligaments feel better. So all those things could be useful for you.
Yay, thank you so much. I love your show.
Well, thank you, and have a great week.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, we got another caller. We got Sarah from St. Pete.
Good morning, Sarah.
Hey there. I'm curious if you believe in diet by blood type, as in some foods are better or worse for you depending on what your blood type is. And I know there's books and stuff about it, but I'll go ahead and I'll take the answer offline. Thank you.
Okay. So blood type is a very important way of evaluating people and how their bodies work. The different blood types have different protein markers, identifying markers on the cell surfaces. And these protein markers interact with proteins in the environment, in your body. So if you ingest a substance that doesn't interact well with the protein markers on your white blood cells, you may have a reaction to it. And so there has been some circumstantial, some anecdotal kind of research done with this. It's hard to do big clinical studies on it, but things that we know, one of the things we found out about blood cells was when we started typing them was because a doctor made an accident in a lab. Apparently he was eating some kidney beans or something, and some of the kidney bean fluid dropped onto some blood that he was analyzing, and it caused something called agglutination. It caused the blood cells to clump together like they were clotting. And it turns out that was type O blood. Type O blood doesn't do really well with kidney beans. The lectins in kidney beans interact poorly with white type O blood. So yes, there is some evidence for that, but it's not a panacea. It's not an answer for everything, but it's a decent guide for how your body might respond to certain foods. Does that help?
I think
that's right. She's off
hung up. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, we've got Daryl from Largo.
Good morning, Daryl.
Morning, sir. All right. I'm 70. I absolutely have nothing wrong with me. I take zero medicines. I still play basketball with 20 and 30-year-olds, and I can kind of school them on certain stuff. But anyway, here's my question. I have a cabinet full, there's berberine and there's saffron and there's this and that, but I just take sort of this and that. No, I haven't taken any glycinate lately, so I'll grab one of those. And I just kind of mix it up, and I eat one here or there with, whenever I eat some food, because it's better to take your supplements with food.
I agree.
And am I doing the right thing by, the longevity people? Yeah, I got to take this every day and that every day, and blah, blah, blah. It's like no, you don't.
No, you don't is right. I like your approach. I kind of use that myself, but I do set up my supplements and stuff on a weekly basis, but it will change based on my intuition and maybe a recent test that I've done to see what I'm low in or high in. And so, I don't think there's a problem. If you are feeling good and you're intuitively taking supplements that you know are good for you, I would keep doing that unless you have something that derails you, and then do something more intensive.
All right. I don't know. Oh, why? There it is. Okay. All right. Am I still there?
You're still here, yeah.
Okay. I hit the broadcast button. The reason you weren't getting a lot of calls because on the app, I couldn't call you. I had to call you from my phone contacts.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't email off the app either. Nothing happened. So whatever.
Yeah, I've not tried that myself, but I think that you are on the right track, sir. Keep eating well, exercising. The best thing you're doing is playing basketball with 20, 30 something. That's killer. That's wonderful. Keep doing that. That keeps you healthier than anything else you're doing.
All right. Yeah, being, rowing. I'm one of the people I know that has a rowboat, and I'm out at Beacon Rocks Beach in a rowboat. I could go on, but whatever.
Yes. Keep going, man. I love it. Have a great year.
All right.
Penny, I think we have time for one last call.
Yep. Penny, you're on.
Hello, Penny?
Hello.
What you got for us today?
Yeah. Tell me about your opinion of the statin ezetimibe.
Well, ezetimibe is in the statin. Ezetimibe is a cholesterol medication that works completely different from statins. It's in a completely different class. It actually prevents the absorption of cholesterol from your gut.
Well, so it lowers cholesterol. Does it lower
cholesterol?
Does it lower LDL?
It lowers all cholesterol because it prevents the absorption of cholesterol from your gut.
Well, I had bad results from the other ones. I had muscle fatigue.
Yeah, some people do get that. Very few, but not many people need to discontinue use of it for that, but the occasional person does. I'm sorry you had to, but ezetimibe works very nicely. It works really well in conjunction with time-release niacin as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. I think we have time for an email. Let me just mention. Let's see. Somebody has recurrent jock itch, but he wonders if stage 4 renal cancer could be a factor. I don't know of any direct relationship there, but that is a very interesting thought. We'd have to explore that one. But if you're having chemotherapy or something, yes, it could contribute. So could radiation. But this is the end of another wonderful show. I thank you for all your engagement today. Thank you, Joe, for running the boards, and Irene for fielding all these wonderful people's phone calls. Next week, we'll be back for some more Ask Me Anything, and I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I hope you all really send lots of hope for enlightened leadership this year. Have a great year.
This is WMNF, Tampa. Stay tuned for NPR.